Ja, hallo. Und wenn ihr hier jetzt neben mir seht, das ist der NukeVapes. Er ist der größte YouTuber aus Frankreich. Finde ich eigentlich ganz interessant. Und ich möchte ihn gerne mal fragen, wie das so in Frankreich abläuft. Well, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you for having me. It's nice.
How is the vaping scene in France?
The vaping scene in France. Well, it's quite different from what I've seen in Oberhausen. It's different in the way that the French tends to like more smaller devices. When there have been some shops that try to launch like 26650 mods, and mech mod is pretty much dead in France. Well, there's a few people still using it, but not a lot. Here I see a lot of mechanical mods and not so many boxes. The electronic boxes in France are very huge. Big sub-ohm tanks, that's also really a trend right now. And here it's like 26650 all the way, with like massive tanks, massive drippers. It's nice to see that the vapers in Germany are not afraid of showing that they're vaping. They're not trying to hide the fact that they're vaping with very small setups. They go all the way and have like massive stuff. I even saw a girl with like a mod that was this big. I think there was like 26650 in it, and it was just crazy. But you know, it's funny to see the difference. Otherwise, you know, it's pretty wide accepted. The vaping world in France is quite big. Vaping is getting big.
That is what I hear. I mean, if people come back from France, they always tell me, "Wow, in France everybody's vaping. Well, you see them everywhere in the streets."
Not everybody vapes, sadly. I would be happy to if that was the case, but it's not. We count around 3 million vapers. You know, that's one statistic, but you know,
that's huge. 3 million.
Yeah, that's quite huge. But some people think that it's way over the real number, that it's a bit exaggerated. And some people say that it's under the right number. So, you know, it must be, it's in this ballpark anyway. It's more than 2 millions and probably less than 4. But it's quite a big community, and it's true, you see a lot of people vape in the street in France. But there's a reason for that. We used to be the country where there's the most smokers per capita. So obviously, when you introduce vaping, it's pretty much like in the Philippines or in Greece or in countries where tobacco is very adopted by the whole population. Then when vaping is introduced, obviously there's more people to convert and that will go to vape. So obviously it's normal that we have the most smokers, then we're gonna have the most vapors, probably.
What about the regulations? Do you know already how France will do this?
Yes, there's actually right now our health minister is trying to push a law against all products related to tobacco, including electronic cigarettes. One of the main reasons for that is that our politicians, pretty much like most politicians in Europe, may I say, don't really know the product. They are afraid of it. They don't want to endorse it yet. They say they don't have enough history, that the product doesn't have enough history, so they don't want to recommend it because they don't want to, they're cautious with that. And this is something I understand, but when you see the result and the studies that have been made on vaping since, 3 or 5 years, and especially the work of Professor Farsalinos in Greece and many others, you can't help but thinking this is way better than tobacco. So why would you want to stop something that's way better and that's working so well to get people off cigarettes? Why would you want to stop it just because you have a slight doubt? Obviously, it's not the safest thing to do. The safest thing to do is not vape and not smoke and not do anything and live in the countryside. But if you want to replace smoke with vaping, there should be, I'm not against any form of regulation, obviously, but there should. I think people are crazy with vaping, and especially the politicians. They are really afraid of this, and I also think they are pushing rules to slow down the cigarettes because they don't make any money out of it. In France, tobacco brings to the state a lot of money, but what's stupid is that it costs the health system that we have in France, which is very good for people, but it's very expensive, and it costs billions of euros every year to heal the people that are sick from tobacco, and it only brings a few million back. So it's not even, they don't even make any profit. They lose money with tobacco, and they don't want to understand it. So sometimes I have troubles, understanding all this. But
what about the media in France? We have the problem here in Germany, even in Austria, that the newspapers, the TV stations, they always tell shit. To say it in English.
Well, it's pretty much the same song in France. Like just recently, one day before the hearing of Totally Wicked at the Union Court, the trial, they're actually attacking the Europe on the Article 20 of the TPD. Yeah? So one day before that hearing, they published a study that was made by a service that controls the quality of the products and protect the consumers. And I'm using air quotes for a reason. And they published this study, which wasn't supposed to be published, one, and two, it was actually it's called the DGCCRF. So it's like it's an acronym for consumer protection. And they were working for like 2 years with the professionals to actually try and make the most logical choice when it comes to labeling the e-liquids and using proper caps with the child safety on it. So they worked with the shop, and they were coming to the shop, controlling everything and saying, okay, this needs to have a child-proof protection cap. This needs to have the small label like this, and you need to write this and that on the labels. And the shops are actually making the shift. All the guys who are making liquids, all the company in France are actually trying to stick to the rules that doesn't exist. It's made on the spot every time. Every month it changes. And they do that. So obviously, when they study the liquids, they're going to say, okay, the liquids are not, 100% compliant with the rules. But what rules?
Which rules? Where are rules?
This is the problem, And then on the media, what they say is just, I'm going to try to translate it the closest that I can, so you can understand how bad it was. The speaker on the most viewed channel in France said to introduce a 2-minute report. He said that millions of French people have adopted the electronic cigarette, thinking it was less dangerous than traditional cigarette. And the thinking is implying that it's more dangerous,
So that's exactly the same stuff as they do here.
Exactly. So it's a mix of stupidity and ignorance, and also I can't help but thinking, if it's just ignorance, this is dangerous ignorance, because this kind of facts and this kind of people saying, talking about stuff they don't know on national television at 8 o'clock in the evening are killing people. They are lying and they are killing people because they are ignorant. And this is even worse than being, than having a bad scheme, having something to promote, or they don't even have any reason to be that stupid. It's just stupidity. And when I actually wrote to the journal and asked them many questions, if they don't want to, if they want to treat a subject that talks about health, and they are doing like so many damages. So now every time I'm gonna see someone in the street smoking, it's just going to tell me, yeah, well, it's your stuff is more dangerous than cigarettes, and that's what people think, because they don't research, they don't go on the internet, they just listen to the headlines and they make their minds. That's what they do, and I don't blame them. I do that on many subjects, but on the electronic cigarette, obviously I know what I'm talking about, and when I hear such bullshit on the national television, it really makes me angry. I even did a video for that. just for that.
So let's talk about more joyful things. Let's talk about your
Please.
channel.
Yeah.
For how long do you make videos now?
Well, it's gonna be 3 years in a month, I guess. Yeah, it's October 12th. It's gonna be the 3rd year of my channel.
Okay.
So yeah, it's an ongoing adventure, and I really like it. That's what I like to do. You know, I quit my job for that. Obviously, I had to start some other stuff. Like I write for this magazine. I didn't plan it. I just wear this T-shirt today, but this is the magazine I work in France.
It's a vapor magazine, or
It's a vapor magazine, but it's for the vaping professionals.
Okay.
So it's a free magazine, and we send it to the shops, and it's actually on paper, but it's for the people in the shop to have laying on the tables, or just for the shop owners. So there's business advices, hardware reviews, some juice reviews, articles about the laws, and because it's hard to keep up. There's a lot of things happening in the community, and when you own a shop or when you run a business, you don't really have time to spend hours on the internet scouring for information. So obviously it's better to have like a small compact resume, and it's a small magazine as well. So yeah, we cover like everything vaping related, and we try to make it quick and easy to read with nice photos.
And your YouTube channel, are you specialized somehow, or do you do anything for beginners, for liquids, or?
Well, when I started, I was aiming towards smokers, because I strongly believe that when you handle something like this and you have like 30 mods behind your back, you're saved. You don't need any reviews. You don't need anyone to tell you how to coil something, you don't need anyone to tell you this Mac mod is good and this electronic box is shit. You know what you want in vaping. So when I started, I tried to just talk to the smokers, and then I got involved in passion, because obviously I have a strong passion for everything that's hardware, the mods, the liquids, even the drip tips, all of this gets me really excited, so I want to talk about it. But no, I don't have any specialty. I do some electronic reviews that not all reviewers can do, because I do have some hardware to help me with that. I have an oscilloscope, a very precise voltmeter, and I actually made a test box with resistance, power resistance, so I can check the electronics in it, pretty much like the lazy box Phil Besardo did, something like that, to make it quick, when I want to do graphs and power graphs and stuff like that. So even though most people find this boring, I find this very interesting.
I think if I watch your videos, everybody thinks that you're a tech freak. So even the videos are very clean and very well made, and you're a tech freak. I think so.
I'm trying hard, yeah. I'm trying hard to make it, slick and nice. But to be honest, I didn't publish any video that I'm really 100% happy with as of right now. No. Every time the light is too dim, or the sound is a bit weird, or there's always something I don't like. So I'm trying every time I do a review to do better than the last one. And so I'm trying to be as good as I can be. But it's just because I like it. I like it I like to fiddle with lights and sound and make it like crystal clear. But it's just
cool. I am Swiss, as you may know.
I know,
and we have a very big and strong community in the French-speaking part of Switzerland.
Sure.
And they are all watching you. I know that. So if you want, you can give a few words for the people in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Yeah, in French.
Okay.
This is your camera.
Ok, donc je m'adresse à toute la communauté suisse. Il y en a quelques-uns d'entre vous que j'ai eu la chance de rencontrer dans des vaperos, notamment chez Charlie, si tu regardes cette vidéo. Donc voilà, merci à vous pour votre soutien. Moi je pense à vous très fort aussi de mon côté de la frontière, en sachant que c'est pas facile tous les jours pour vous avec le manque de nicotine, etc. Mais je crois savoir qu'il y a des choses très intéressantes qui vont se passer bientôt à ce sujet-là sur les liquides en Suisse. Comme je l'ai dit à Charlie la dernière fois qu'on s'est vu, si la TPD passe et que la Suisse devient le seul endroit d'Europe où on pourra vaper librement, il va falloir vous attendre à me recevoir dans votre si joli pays. Voilà.
Super. Merci beaucoup et bonne chance pour toi.
Merci.
Merci. Yeah, great.